Many of our feelings about having a baby or starting a family are tied up in emotions. The reality is that there are many practical and even legal ramifications that result from having a child. What are some of the rights and responsibilities for parents, and how does having a baby change things from a legal perspective? I'm Michelle Burton, an attorney and legal analyst, and this is Parent Savers episode 90.
Faster than a speeding toddler.
Sit still for just a minute.
Can soothe boo-boos with a gentle kiss.
Would you get down from there?
Able to clean poopy bottoms in a single swipe.
Oh, what did you eat?
Turning frazzled mommies and daddies into procreators of peace and harmony.
Ah, quit touching me.
It's Parent Savers, empowering new parents everywhere.
Welcome everybody once again to Parent Savers, broadcasting from the Birth Education Center of San Diego. Parent Savers is your weekly online on-the-go support group for parents from contraception to kindergarten. I'm your host, John O'Reilly. Thanks again to all of our loyal listeners who join us week in and week out, and thanks also to those of you who may be listening for the first time. You guys can join our Parent Savers Club if you haven't already, and receive access to special bonus content after each new show, plus special giveaways and discounts from time to time. And if you haven't already, please make sure to download the free Parent Savers app, available in the Android and iTunes marketplaces, so you can automatically have access to all the great parenting advice and conversation we have on Parent Savers every week. Let's start this week's conversation by meeting everyone who's joining us. I'll start by introducing myself. As you guys know, I'm John O'Reilly. And so twice I've done the Bachelor mistake of where like the guy calls the girls guys. So I just did that in the intro in there. So I'm sorry for calling everybody guys. So thank you, listeners. But I'm John O'Reilly. I have 3 boys. By the time this one airs, the oldest will be 7, and a 4-year-old and also a 2-year-old.
My name is Hadley Ajana. I'm an attorney and I work in tax software. And I have a son who's 10 months old.
And he's joining us, and we may hear him.
I'm sorry, he's 8 months old. Yeah, he's here.
So we'll just tell him 9 months.
Getting ahead of myself.
So I'm Erin Esteves. I'm the producer, also known as OG Mamacita, and I have 1 boy, and he is 2.
I'm Michelle Burton. I'm an attorney in San Diego, and I have 2 children, a teenager, age 14, and a middle school daughter who's 11.
Nice. And I'm married to an attorney, too, so maybe I'm either in my element or I'm...
You poor man.
Nice. So before we jump into today's topic, let's look at one of today's news headlines. And we'll put this picture up on the site. But the headline is, did someone call for a milkman? And if you guys want to look at this picture that Aaron has around. The story is from October of actually 2002, so it goes back a while, in Sri Lanka. A 38-year-old Sri Lankan man whose wife had died 3 months earlier during childbirth is attempting to breastfeed his 2 infant daughters. My eldest daughter refused to be fed with the powdered milk liquid in the feeding bottle, he said. I was so moved one evening, and to stop her crying, I offered my breast. I then realized that I was capable of breastfeeding her, the man admitted. A doctor in Sri Lanka, the government hospital, says it's possible for men to produce milk if the prolactin hormone became hyperactive. So apparently men and boys have mammary glands just like women, but there's so little mammary tissue that they're usually not noticed. But under the right conditions and with the right stimulus, then a man can produce breast milk. And so in this picture, this man is breastfeeding his babies. What do you guys think about that?
Wow. I think it would take a lot of getting used to.
That's right.
And I wonder if, it's more of a soothing thing for the baby rather than actual milk being produced and coming out.
I saw how much Christina struggled all 3 times at the early stages of breastfeeding to figure it out and get the latch just right. And she's still breastfeeding our 2-year-old, and just still say, "Oh my God, this hurts so bad!" Like sometimes because he is using it as a soother.
Yes.
And so I think about my like that would hurt my nipples down. Because I can't imagine that the breast milk would come out.
I have to call conspiracy here, and honestly say that in order for me to truly believe this, I would have to do like a lot of research,
right?
Yeah,
and make sure that this just wasn't some, I don't know, not.
And at the very least, though, I would imagine that men can soothe their kids with their nipples.
Absolutely,
though.
Sure.
But
why
it's
not?
the producing breast milk.
It's
part.
the producing the breast milk. But I mean, men can get breast cancer.
Theoretically, though, with the right hormones, I mean, shouldn't it be? I guess this is a question for Robin over at the Boob Group. But theoretically, it seems like it would be possible with the right mix of hormones.
I don't know. This is like National Enquirer.
Exactly. It would have to get injected probably with the right.
Well, see, and this is why I say it's a conspiracy theory because if men physically were capable of breastfeeding breastfeeding, I think that it would be one of those unspoken things amongst men not to make it known.
Right.
Yeah.
Well, there's the other school of thought. There's like a funny article where if men could breastfeed, that it would be like the best thing in the world. There'd be commercials during the Super Bowl about it. And it would be totally, well, but I think the part that I can really sympathize with this story, I mean, obviously so sad for this man whose wife died in childbirth, but also that moment where you're going to do anything to try and soothe your child. And if she was inconsolable, like, here, take my, like,
that's just heartbreaking.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, anyway, we'll put that article up on the episode page of the site. The picture itself is actually priceless. So make sure to check it out and let us know what you guys think, if this is possible. And perhaps we'll have to call in our experts over at the Boob Group and see what they say. Now it's time for today's topic here on Parent Savers. We're going to be talking about legalities of parenting, rights and responsibilities. Today we're talking with Michelle Burton. Thanks for joining us. Let's just dive right into the topic. And what are some steps, before parents even have a baby, things that they should start thinking about of how things are going to change from a legal perspective? I mean, we're all wrapped up already in the emotional and the nesting and everything, but from a very practical legal perspective, what are some things as soon as someone gets pregnant that they need to start thinking about?
New parents, especially because they are wrapped up in the emotion and the excitement of having a new baby, aren't really thinking about things that could possibly go wrong, or making sure that they have a will, so that if something happened, their wishes would be followed as far as taking care of their child, who would be the legal guardian, the proper amount of life insurance that you might need to get.
How do you designate
planning.
that? Like, do you have to file a certain paper that said this is who the legal guardian is, or is that part of your will?
It can be part of your will.
Yeah.
Okay, so you can have a will. In California, wills are fairly easy to create. There are many kits available online that you can go on to, and it will have all of the legal terms in it for you, and you just kind of fill in the blanks.
Like a Mad Libs.
Exactly. And they make it very easy. Mm-hmm. You can also, in California, it's called a holographic will.
Okay.
You can write it out on a piece of paper and sign your will. And a lot of people do this just so that they have something.
Yeah.
And you stick it in an envelope and you just write.
Does it need to be notarized or anything?
It doesn't need to be notarized. You just can write it out, sign your name, and that has testamental intent.
And seal it?
And seal it and put it away. It's not as good as having, a will that's witnessed. But in a pinch, if you have nothing, that's something that you should write out.
Interesting. You just date it?
Well, does it need to be postmarked? I mean, is it something that you would mail to yourself?
You should put the date on it. You don't really need to. You don't need to mail it to yourself.
Yeah.
You can just write to be opened upon my passing, and you can stick it in a.
Oh, that's interesting.
Stick it in a thing. In some states, it's not like that, but in California, they still
and that could
recognize
be
that.
Like that could be even like detailed of. Everything
you can say
those two, or you could just say,
I want my favorite ring to go to my sister in your will, or you should use words I leave, or I bequeath, or I give.
And this isn't the recommended way to do it. This is
this is just in a pinch. A lot of people sometimes say, oh, well, I'm leaving my child for the first time, or getting on a plane tomorrow, and I have nothing. What if something happens?
Right.
This is when people start thinking about, what if something happens? So, just write something out. Stick it in an envelope. Give it to your sister, your friend to put in their safe, and you have something that shows your intent.
Got it.
Yeah.
That's it. Yeah. But with the benefit of more time, they should take more.
Exactly. Yes.
Thorough steps.
Right. And important things about a will is, if you have a will, your will basically says who gets what and when they get it.
Yeah.
And you want to be in control of that, and especially on who will become the guardian of your child if something happened to the mother and the father.
Right.
So.
John, I actually have a Facebook question about that. And the Facebook question was from Anonymous. Okay. And she said that she was actually a child of foster care. She doesn't know her birth family. She doesn't know any family. She is a new mother, and she's worried about what she should do because if something happens to her, she doesn't want her child to end up in the system like she was.
Right. So if you have very good friends, when in thinking about who should become the guardian of your child, you have to take a lot into consideration, such as the ages of your parents or other family members, if they actually would be up to the task, if they would be financially up to the task, because taking on another child is, there's a financial burden and responsibility that comes along with that. Or if you don't have those people in your family, you should look outside to some of your close friends. For instance, my best friend that I went to college with is the guardian of my children, even though my parents are still alive.
Right.
And we had this conversation early on when our children were both born.
Yeah.
So look for people and have that conversation with good friends or other family members. It doesn't need to be immediate family. You should be thinking about, what are the values that you want to raise your child with, and if you have a friend that is going to be able to provide the kind of life you want for your child, that's what I
And if they already have 6 or 7 kids, what's another one into the mix? Right?
Exactly. They might need a bigger car, so you might need to leave a life insurance policy to take care of that.
Sonny, you're going to be, everyone's going to just add you because
Exactly.
everyone's going to, because she has 4 kids. But so when you make a will though with your baby, are people also doing it so they can make sure that all their stuff goes to their baby as well?
Well, okay, so there's a will, and then there's what's called a trust. Okay, and those are 2 different things, right? So a will, when you have a will, that's still you still have to go through probate, which can be a long, expensive process. A will is good if you don't have a lot of assets, right? You don't have a lot of property, so you're just talking about kind of guardianship issues and minimal property, and things won't get tied up in the probate court for years. So the courts move at a very, very slow pace these days.
Right.
And then there's another thing, it's called a trust that you can set up, and a trust it sometimes is preferable. So you can take you can put property in a trust, and you can take it out at any time.
Okay.
So a trust becomes valid upon creation, whereas a will is valid only upon your passing.
Okay.
Right? A trust is a document you can set up. You can put your house into it. You can make sure that your life insurance policies go into it. There are a lot of tax consequences.
The trust is preferable.
Yes, exactly. That you can avoid by setting up a trust, upon your death.
Yeah.
So
are those as easy to set up as wills, or a little more complicated?
Those are more complicated. You would probably need a lawyer to do that. And it runs somewhere between $1,000 to $1,500, depending on how much property you have.
Okay.
But the lawyer that would prepare your trust would, update it and, take care of, other things. Usually they'll prepare your advance directives and DNRs and all those things that kind of go along with thinking and planning about those things.
Got it.
Yeah.
So wills and trusts are, kind of the first thing that a lot of people think of, and a lot of it is revolving around guardianship issues.
Correct.
But then also property issues.
But
do a lot of people do that with babies, or do they wait till their kids are a little older?
You would think that people would do it sooner, but everybody thinks, nothing's going to happen to me, and then when things do happen, you have to think, well, it's really your family members that have to come in and clean up the mess and figure out, well, what happens with the house. What happens, immediately if, say, you have a family member that wants to take your child, but they don't have the financial ability to do that, you need to make sure, if you have a trust, that there's money and your assets are going to be going to take care of your child.
Right. And so, and if you only had a will, or if you don't have a will, if it happes the day after you die, that's too late. You're already
going through probate.
Yeah.
Your money and any assets you have are tied up, and then you don't make decisions about who gets what. Ultimately, it goes through the courts, and your family members can fight it out. And that leads to a lot of disputes too.
Yeah.
That you can avoid by your own planning.
What are some other legal mistakes that maybe you see parents make, or is that one of the biggest ones, that just not doing anything, just leaving everything the same? Or?
Being paralyzed about thinking about the issues.
Yeah.
And it's really hard to think about those issues when you're trying to think about an exciting time in your life.
Right.
But there are stories of things that go wrong in birth, and then there is no plan on preparing for that. And that just, makes a terrible situation even worse than it is. And I think not, having a genuine conversation with your spouse as to who would become the guardian of your child in the event that you both passed. Okay, so I have friends that could never agree on who would be the guardian of their child, and so they just stopped the will process altogether.
Don't
they
let
got
that
into
hold
a
it
big
up.
fight.
Right.
I mean, luckily their kids are almost grown and
It didn't.
able to take care of themselves. But if something would have happened because they never got past that impasse, I want my brother or I want my sister to become the guardian.
And what's guardianship mean? Does that mean that, do they have all the rights of a parent?
If you become the legal guardian, then you have the rights of a parent. Okay. But you have to designate that in your will if you have a trust, then they have to file for application of guardianship with the courts. They have to file that, but you say who you want to be the guardian.
And so it's just a procedural matter of
exactly
getting it recorded or whatever.
The correct legal paperwork. Yeah.
Got it. All right. Well, that's I think that's a good start to looking at the topic from planning for horrible situations.
Yes,
but,
I know it's not a very happy topic to talk about, but it's a necessary topic.
Yeah. But let's take a quick break, and then we'll look at some of the some situations that maybe single, divorced, same-sex parents face, or that might affect parents that doesn't need a catastrophic event to happen. So we'll be right back. Welcome back, everybody, to Parent Savers. Today we're talking about the legalities of parenting and rights and responsibilities with Michelle Barton. So are there special issues that single parents need to be tuned into? Does guardianship apply there, or are there some other things that they need to consider?
Well, guardianship would definitely apply in that situation, because if you're a single parent and you pass, then who is going to take care of your parents, or your child? So you really need to be thinking about guardianship issues. I'd probably say, on a bigger scale as who's going to take over, because it's unlikely that both parents are going to pass away. It's less likely than one parent passing away. So then again, you need to look, at your immediate family, your extended family, and then good friends that you would want to be the guardian in that situation. What
other issues, though, do single parents kind of run into that you need to plan for? Do you have any experience with that, Haley?
Gosh, no, I was primarily concerned with the who would be the guardian of my child, and I didn't want the father. I think by operation of law, he would have first choice, and I was concerned about what that would be like, and so I did talk to a couple of attorneys about if I could sever his rights, or what would happen if he showed up suddenly and wanted to be involved. So I went through all that with several different attorneys, and then I did talk to two people that I wanted to be the guardian, and they didn't take it that seriously. I really wanted to have this very substantial conversation, and they were just like, nothing's going to happen, sure. I thought, no, I really need to know that if something happens, you're really going to own this and raise my child. And so, that's just, that's not a legal thing. That's just a human thing, nobody wants to talk about it. And I didn't want it to go to my dad. And so, I've gone through all of this since he was born, and, I have no assets, perhaps luckily. So I didn't, otherwise I would put them in a trust, but there's nothing to pass on to my child at this point.
But as a single parent, what do you need legally to be able to sever the contact with?
That was, I went around with a couple of attorneys, and actually I never got a definitive answer. There's so many things that could happen, and it would depend, and what has the dad been doing, what has he not been doing, and who knows at the point, if I were to die 10 years from now, who could tell you, what had happened between now and 10 years. So,
so that's an issue of guardianship then, but what about now? Are there legal steps that you had to take to kind of build a wall to make sure
he's not on the birth certificate.
He's not. So that's the big thing there. Then not on the birth certificate.
And I never sued for paternity.
But because he's not on the birth certificate, that solved a lot of it. Is that it?
Well, he could still sue for DNA, right?
He could. But if the father is on the birth certificate, then they're deemed to have certain rights. They can never win. Physical or legal custody from the mother unless it's shown that the mother is a poor mother or has abandoned the child or is incapable of taking care of the child. But being on the birth certificate gives the father some rights. They can sue. They can get visitation rights, maybe weekend custody rights, things like that. If they're not on the birth certificate, then that creates more of a barrier for them. They would have to go through the whole paternity thing and then the courts and try and sue to at least get those rights that are already deemed that the father has if they're on the birth certificate.
And that could theoretically work the other way too, although it's probably less common for there only to be a father on the birth certificate and not a mother, or can that happen?
In same-sex marriages, the father would be on the birth certificate. And then, that is a very complicated area of the law. And obviously it's still changing right now because of all the changes going on in same-sex marriages and the legalities involved.
But so if couples aren't married, are they able to both be on the birth certificate? Or what can a same-sex couple do that's adopting? Or what are things they need to think about? There's a lot, right?
There's a lot that they need to think about. And it depends on how, if you're a lesbian couple versus, a male homosexual couple, because in the lesbian situations, one parent usually gives birth to the child, and then would be deemed the natural mother of the child, and then there would be the secondary parent. But if they're born within a marriage, the couple is married, then they're both on the certificate. Now, if they're just domestic partners living together, that's different. And in the father situation where there's two men involved in the marriage, obviously one of them's not going to give birth to the child, so it's either, they're both adopting and they become the adoptive parents. And then, there's the issue of who becomes the primary parent versus the secondary parent. It's a very, very complex, complicated.
I cannot wait to dig into that one.
So just at a high level though, but that's one of the, so if same-sex couples were officially married, that would make the process of having kids easier.
Yes.
Or from a legal perspective.
Because you're entitled to equal protection under the law, so you can't discriminate against same-sex couples that are legally married. They get the same rights as heterosexual couples that are legally married, and that would also involve children. But if they're not legally married, like some states haven't come all the way around yet, that creates a whole host of other issues. As to if something happens, they want to get divorced, they split up. Who is the primary parent and caretaker?
And so there's a lot of work ahead of time just for identifying those issues.
It's something that you and your partner, if you're in a same-sex marriage, you need to talk about it. And you need to think about it at a whole another level. You should probably go and get legal advice on, if on the guardianship issues and things like that, because, especially if you're a male heterosexual couple that is unmarried. Well,
okay, so let's say though for a traditional couple, then obviously I'm not planning on getting divorced. I don't think Aaron is, or anyone in this room is planning on it.
Nobody plans on it.
So are there steps that you can take, that we could take, or maybe should take now when everything's great, that would make the process go more smoothly? Even though I can't imagine if it happened or if it didn't, that it wouldn't go smoothly, but I'm sure nobody does.
Oh, no, it wouldn't go smoothly with us. There's no way. I mean, you do not want to be on my husband's bad side. That's all I'm saying.
Well, as a lawyer, they always say, expect the best, but plan for the worst.
Right.
Prepare for the worst. And, you need to, nobody ever plans to get divorced, especially, when you're having a baby. That's a happy time in your life, but things happen in marriages. And, they're unless you have a prenup agreement up front, which most people don't have, there's not a lot of pre-steps that you can take for planning to get divorced.
Right.
But if divorce happens and you're going to split up, there are ways that you can do it to make it easier on your children. There are divorce mediators that couples can go to that are a fraction of the cost of lawyers, and they will help you through the process. They will help you fill out the paperwork. They will help you with custody issues and deciding on those. They will help you with co-parenting issues because, a lot of times both parents still want to be involved. And once you have a child with another person, that person is in your life pretty much for the rest of your life. So no matter how bad the emotions are when you're going through the divorce, you need to think about the well-being of the child and co-parenting strategies and things that you're going to do in that aspect.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, taking a little bit different tack then, as far as planning as a parent from a legal perspective. What do you need to do? How about if you have, and everything we talk about is planning for the worst,
right?
Like you said, but what about for having friends over a play date and someone gets hurt, or what kind of steps do you need to take, to protect yourself from that situation?
Oh, well, my son who's sitting here is rolling his eyes because, we have a zip line in our backyard.
Oh.
And we've actually had 4 broken arms on this zip line. Yes.
How many were related to you?
None.
Oh, jeez.
None were related, but it's always a friend's kid, or you have a big party for the soccer team, and one kid just goes up and then, takes the reins and just lets go, right when they go off the thing. So, yes, we've had several broken arms, but no one's ever sued. Everybody has homeowners insurance that will cover you for an accident. I've seen people saying, "Well, I want people to sign a release before they come over to my house."
I had a friend do that. He had a trampoline when we were growing up, and eventually they're like, "You got to sign a form if you want to jump on the tramp."
Well, one thing people don't realize is that there are certain things in your homeowner's insurance policy that are excluded, specifically excluded and not covered if an accident happens. So most homeowners' policies have a trampoline exclusion,
but not zip line yet.
Not zip line yet. Yeah, they don't have a zip line yet. And although the zip line is no more, no one can use it anymore after the last incident.
Oh man!
And but slides are also excluded. Water slides.
Really?
Yes. So you want to make sure.
Check it and see.
Yeah, most homeowners insurance policies will either have a slide exclusion or they will say, okay, you can have a slide, but if any injury occurs on a slide, you're not covered for that injury.
Got it.
So you need to know that.
I was going to say pools in general just terrify me.
Not
until I went to law school, actually, but after that, I was just I lived in a home with a pool, and there was a toddler next door, and I never slept. And I can't imagine being a parent and having a pool and a toddler, or inviting little kids over. That would terrify me. I just would not. I would hire a lifeguard even if you came over for the afternoon. I would just be so scared.
Because you read all these cases, in law school about incidents in pools. So if you have a pool and you invite, little kids over or toddlers, you want to make sure that pool is fenced properly. There are certain alarms that you can have that if anything, the size of a cat falls into that pool, the alarm is going to go off and you as a parent will be aware and you'll know. You can have, like at my house, we have door chimes. So if somebody opens that back door out to the pool,
you can hear it.
I know that door is open and someone's going out there.
Well, the rate at which kids drown is no joke. I mean, you get paranoid in law school, but if you really look at the statistics, drowning is very dangerous.
It is very, very dangerous. And jacuzzis, too. Kids tend to overheat in jacuzzis, especially young kids, and they get dehydrated. So that's an issue. But as far as getting people to sign releases, accidents happen. That's an interesting question because I haven't seen one that's been challenged. Where there's actually been a legal challenge to that. It would be interesting to see if the parent could actually waive. I assume that it probably would apply. I mean that if you had it drafted properly, then they'd have to prove that you were grossly negligent, that you were aware that there was something wrong, or you had several injuries, or something like that
like
on your
zip line.
property. Yeah, exactly.
Like a zip line.
Like 4 broken arms.
So my husband takes out the. He says, "Okay, we're going to take down the zip line," but then he puts a slide in the backyard, right? So I'm like, I can't win, Yeah.
I wonder if you could, sometimes you go to an event and it'd be like, oh, you may be filmed for purposes, and you give us the right to do it. Maybe next to your home sweet home sign, you can put up a disclaimer sign. By entering these premises, you waive all rights.
I've actually joked with my friends that on the Evite invitation, you put I accept, I accept the liability waiver at the bottom. It comes. So
that's a great idea.
So your acceptance to the Evite, you're actually waiving your right to anything.
That's right.
That's a great idea.
What else can we slip in?
Just be like a little, like those disclaimers that Apple puts on the iPhone that nobody reads.
Here's my 47 terms of service for coming to my house. Yeah. All right. So, what do you think as we wrap this up? And it could be something we've already talked about. What's the most important thing parents need to know from a legal perspective about having kids and preparing?
I think planning, just planning, and trying to think about the issues of guardianship is just a huge issue, and it will give you peace of mind. It will give your spouse peace of mind. It will force issues to the forefront of maybe disagreements between you and your spouse about how you want your kids raised, and who do you think would be the best person to do that if you weren't around? What do you think?
And if I had any money, I would be worried about a trust. I don't.
Yes.
But that's important. It really
trust. Yeah.
It's not. My mom just recently died, and I can't imagine how much worse it would be if I had to drag through probate and explain where stuff went. And it's just no fun. It's really a loving thing that you can do for your family.
Right. I've heard you don't want to do probate.
Nobody wants to do it. And you say,
There is one thing also when you do write up a will. My dad just experienced this. You have to choose your executor that theoretically will outlive you.
Oh, that's right. Yeah.
Right. Yeah, that's right.
Because
I think my parents had this conversation. They're like, "Don't get mad. We made your sister the executor." I'm like, "Dude, I'm not mad at all."
But the executor probably shouldn't be the guardian of your child. Right? Because you want to have the checks and balances. The executor is the person that sort of holds the purse strings if you do have money. And that way the guardian can't, just get all the money and blow the money that you've left for the benefit of your child. And same, if you have a trust, then you have somebody who's the trustee, and then you have the executor, and then you have the beneficiary. So there are a level of checks and balances. Yeah.
And the other thing I've learned is just write whatever you want in an envelope, seal it,
and
it is law.
Yeah.
Kind of, that's basically what you said, right?
I bequeath to you.
Yes. In a pinch, I don't, no attorney would really recommend that, but it does show your testamentary intent, and it's still a valid document in California.
Nice. All right. Well, thanks so much for these tips. Thanks for joining us today. For more information for our listeners about legalities of parenting or information about anything we talked about, visit our episode page on our website. We're actually going to continue the conversation for members of our Parent Savers Club after the show. We'll discuss a new trend we've heard about in custody situations where the kid stays in the same house and the parents travel back and forth, and just talk about legal ramifications of that. So for more information about how to join the Parent Savers Club so you can access that content and other bonus content from the rest of our shows, please visit our website, parentsavers.com.
Hello, Parent Savers. I'm Brian Miller. I own Geppetto's Toy Stores in San Diego. Thanks for listening. Today we're going to talk about toys from your brand new little ones from birth to 6 months old. At that age, a child's field of vision is very small, 7 to 10 or 12 inches. So that's why high contrast toys are really important. Black and white at first, even red and blue, things with very high contrast that a child can see. Things with sounds. A sound motivates a child to move their head, to listen. Hearing is really developed once the child's born, so even those light, gentle sounds that a toy might make or a music box might make really motivates your child to turn his head, which works the neck muscles. Things with texture and sound. I have a baby toy here that has a crinkly noise, and once a child does that, they're going to see the cause and effect of what happens and also turn their head and move. Things that are easy to grasp for a little one. At that age, 0 to 3, 4, 5 months, a child is using their whole hand to grasp the toy. So you want to make sure it's something easy for them to grasp. A rattle with a big loop is an easy thing to grasp. We sell quite a few toys that almost look like atoms, where there are big holes in between the pieces, and a child can put their whole arm in there and shake it and make the toy move. Those are excellent toys for newborns. You want to give a child a whole body workout, meaning when they're on their back, playing with a gym with toys above their head, they're moving all their arms and their legs, and they're seeing what's above them and moving their neck. All of those develop muscles and motor skills. Those are excellent. Even tummy time, mirrors. When a child sees their face in a mirror, that's motivating because they see something moving. They don't know it's their face, but they know something over there is moving, and that's very attractive. You can visit our website, Geppetto'sToys.com, for more information, or for future ideas, listen to Parent Savers for more toy tips in the future.
That wraps up today's episode of Parent Savers. Thanks so much for listening. We appreciate you listening. Don't forget to check out our sister shows, Preggy Pals for expecting parents, the Boob Group for moms and dads who breastfeed their babies, right? Based on our news headline for today. And also Twin Talks for parents of multiples. Next week, we're going to be talking about another exciting topic. Instead of kind of getting our financial house in order, I guess we're going to talk about getting our emotional, would that be the word? Romantic side in order. That's the word I'm looking for. For our Valentine's Day show, we're going to be talking about ways to spice up your marriage after having kids. So hopefully that doesn't turn into a little therapy session for me. All right. This is Parent Savers, empowering new parents.
This has been a New Mommy Media production. The information and material contained in this episode are presented for educational purposes only. Statements and opinions expressed in this episode are not necessarily those of New Mommy Media and should not be considered facts. While such information and materials are believed to be accurate, it is not intended to replace or substitute for professional medical advice or care, and should not be used for diagnosing or treating healthcare problem or disease or prescribing any medication. If you have questions or concerns regarding your physical or mental health or the health of your baby, please seek assistance from a qualified healthcare provider.
Hey mamas, don't forget to check out Mighty Moms. It's our online community built for new moms just like you. Not only can you connect with other moms, but you can also join us backstage for special mom-only online events. And you'll also be notified when we're recording so you can join us as a special guest. Visit our website, newmommymedia.com, and click on the Mighty Moms banner. It's free. That's newmommymedia.com. See you there. Hey mamas, don't forget to check out Mighty Moms. It's our online community built for new moms just like you. Not only can you connect with other moms, but you can also join us backstage for special mom-only online events. And you'll also be notified when we're recording so you can join us as a special guest. Visit our website, newmommymedia.com, and click on the Mighty Moms banner. It's free. That's newmommymedia.com. See you there.